Hi, for those just joining, Jason Leppin, Executive Director, and Jeff Johnson, Chair of the Board of Trustees from the Actuarial Foundation, are my guests on today's CCA Leadership Development interview series. There's one other program that I want to spend a little bit of time with here. And Jason, you had mentioned this, I think, in one of our earlier segments, but that is the STEM Stars program. You want to take a few minutes and explain a little bit about STEM Stars and the people that it's impacting?
I do. Thanks, Michael. So STEM Stars is the foundation's latest endeavor, and it's a scholarship program. The program is specifically targeted to high school juniors and seniors that are African American, Latinx, Native American, and it's in response to the actuarial community's kind of research and deep dive into diversity, equity, and inclusion within the profession. And so I think we're all really aware now that membership representation in the SOA, the CAS, the CCA, and just across the board is not where we'd all like it to be for the actuarial industry. We'd like to see more folks coming into the industry from these different ethnic groups. And so we took a look at what we could do at the Actuarial Foundation. And for a long time, for about 15 years, we've had a diversity scholarship program in place. And we've awarded out over $1 million, roughly 750 scholarships over that period of time. But what we found is maybe half of those students sit for one exam. We didn't see a lot of traction, actually. We saw a lot of our student recipients go into other insurance-based jobs, other financial industry-based jobs, which is great, and that's wonderful that we could be there and help provide some support. But as we looked across the board, we thought, well, we are the Actuarial Foundation. We're hearing the actuarial community say that they would like to see more students from these underserved communities and groups get some traction into the field. So we thought we were pretty well equipped to maybe help address that. And so we decided to launch STEM Stars. And this is a comprehensive scholarship program. And what I mean by that is, yes, our recipients receive a scholarship. They receive $5,000 a year in scholarship. So if you're in our program for 4 years, you're going to get 20 grand towards your college education from the Actuarial Foundation. So money's great, but money's not the problem with everybody, or maybe it's just one of the factors. Maybe the other factors are around support and having people walk in partnership with them and kind of help guide them through this journey of academics and testing and interning and more testing and, hopefully finding that actuary job at some point. So this is, Michael, a little more geared towards actually producing future actuaries. And so we are dipping our toes into that pond a little bit. But we feel like it's in line with what we've been doing for years. We're just doing it a little different. And what we're doing is we launched our first cohort for STEM Stars last fall. A cohort consists of 20 students. So we filled our cohort. We had about 350 applicants that we had to narrow down to 20. And cohort one got started. So a cohort, you as a member of our cohort, you receive a lot of additional support besides the financial piece. So we offer early internship opportunities. We offer extensive mentorship. We offer coaching. We offer soft skill development. We offer opportunities for job shadowing. And we do this through a group of about 22 corporate partners that are involved in the STEM Stars program. And so these 20 kids have access to a lot of resources that are going to help them hopefully stay on track to start off as an actuarial science student and continue the journey through college. So that's the goal. So we're hoping to see our first cohort of 20 kids 4 years, 5 years from now, we'd love to see 100% of those students sitting for multiple exams, having a significant internship, or getting their first real job as an actuary. Will it be 100%? Probably not. But the goal of the program is to really build in some rail posts, if you will, and a lane that these kids can stay in and follow. And we have a lot of people and services available that are going to help these kids stick with it. And we just opened the application on November 1st for cohort number 2. So we are filling our next cohort with 20 students again. And so we'll have cohort 1 and 2 running, which will be a total of 40 kids. And I do have to give a big shout out to the Society of Actuaries. They were one of the organizations that provided the initial funding for STEM Stars to really help us get it going, and kind of plant our flag and say, we're going to make this effort as an organization. We're going to ask the SOA to get involved, since this is a goal for them as an organization. And so far, we're all kind of put our oars in the water, and we're all trying to move the boat in the same direction, and help these kids. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is identifying these students that really want to go into this as a career path, but not just cutting them a check, but giving them a lot of opportunity to be successful.
Jeff, I'd love to get your reaction there. I mean, you mentioned your involvement with the IABA. What does this program mean to you, and what have you seen so far?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is when Jason was talking, I remembered that way back, I received a diversity scholarship, and I'll admit the money was nice, but I remember, thinking in reflection, I had some cash to help me, I think, pay for an actuarial exam, but it would have helped to really know some actuaries and be able to tap into some of those mentors a little bit more strongly early on. So certainly, I applaud this program. I'm excited about it. I think it has the holistic and feel around it to really help. We can't guarantee anyone's going to, ultimately become an actuary, but we can put enough. I like that the path that maybe has some comfortable bumpers on it. So when a stumble does occur, it's easier to get back up and keep going. And in a lot of ways, the IABA sort of had embraced this idea early on for those that were members like myself who needed that or wanted that. But this allows it to go to the next level and be focused in a way that I believe the Actuarial Foundation is uniquely positioned to deliver along with its corporate partners.
Well, it seems like there's lots of opportunities here as well for people to get involved, both from that mentorship standpoint. Given just the financial commitment, it sounds like this is a great place for anybody that's looking to make a donation to a worthwhile cause. This is clearly a great opportunity for that. But then maybe uniquely here too, there's an opportunity for companies to get involved. Anyone that has that inclination. Jason, tell us a little bit about how people can get involved, what they should do if they want to get involved with the STEM Stars program.
Yeah, I would encourage you to please reach out to me directly, and have that conversation, and we can take it from there, whether that's you individually or if you feel your company might have interest in being involved in this program. We love those conversations. I have staff that are helping run the STEM Stars program, so certainly would connect people or companies interested with them as well. But I would love to start that conversation and talk more about how someone can get involved. But there is more information on our website. If you go to our scholarships area, we have a page dedicated to STEM Stars, and you can learn all kinds of information there. We have contact information available on that page. And we're also doing a lot of posting on social media right now about STEM Stars.
I mean, it sounds like an awesome program, especially for companies and individuals that want to have that DE&I focus. This sounds like a great place if somebody's not really sure where to get started. So again, actuarialfoundation.org to get more of that information.
Perfect.
All right, Jason Leppin, Executive Director, and Jeff Johnson, Chair of the Board of Trustees from the Actuarial Foundation, are my guests on today's CCA Leadership Development interview series. And gentlemen, I want to end our conversation today with one last segment where something I love to do in these interviews is get your thoughts on leadership in general. Jeff, let me start with you. In thinking about people that you consider to be successful leaders, what traits do they have? How do they demonstrate their leadership?
Yeah, I mean, three things immediately came to mind for me when I had a chance to reflect on this. First is a vision, the ability to see beyond what is to what can be. I think the next attribute is gravity. And what I mean by that is both the ability as they express that vision to draw people to them, but also draw out the best in other individuals and unite them around the common cause or theme of the day. And then the other quality I think is really common amongst those leaders that I have seen be successful and respect is they also have empathy. And what I really want to exhibit that with is they have an ability to both understand and connect with people. And that allows them to, I think, connected with getting the most out of the individuals that they work with, helping to understand the dynamics of the team. And maybe the phrase I heard last week when someone was speaking is, you know what, the team needs to eat first. They eat and then I know they're healthy, they're prepared to do what needs to be done. And as a leader, I can move forward. So those are the three things I think are key to the leaders I've seen be successful.
I love that. So vision, gravity, and empathy. I like that. Those are great traits. Jason, how about you? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I love Jeff's responses to that question. I couldn't agree more. I had a couple others that I jotted down. I think you have to be a sincere, active listener when you're in a leadership role. I think that's key. I think people need to know that you're actually listening and you're hearing what they're saying. I think leaders are all about building trust with those that they're engaged with and working with and leading. And I believe first and foremost for me in my role and my philosophy is all around being a servant leader, and I think it kind of relates to what Jeff mentioned, but for me it's about serving first, and I think when as a leader, when you serve, other people are really eager to also serve. And they want to get behind that and support. And then finally, for me, I like to surround myself with people that are way smarter than I am. You know, I don't pretend to have the answers or know all the answers, but I love to bring people together who can put ideas on the table and help us kind of formulate those ideas into an actual action. So for me, it's about people that are way smarter than I am.
Well, and I like how with what both of you said, right? Neither one of you said, well, to be a successful leader, you have to be the smartest person in the room. And Jason, your last comment there, I mean, definitely hit the nail on the head with that, right? That actually some of their smarts come in surrounding themselves with smarter people. But with all those other characteristics, it's easy to see how someone, and I think we all can think of those people, right, that have been successful leaders and how they demonstrate that through really their ability to connect and help other people grow and develop and move the collective group along. Jason, so who are some of your role models then when it comes to leadership, and how have you tried to emulate their examples?
I love this question, and I always take the view that nobody's really because you never know that person who they really are. So when I think about role models, I think about people that I actually know and that have been in my life and that I've been exposed to. And the first one for me, it's my dad. My dad was a Methodist pastor for 40 years. And so growing up in that environment, I mean, he was all about being a servant leader every day. It didn't matter what time of day it was or night. It didn't matter who was calling or who was knocking on the door. He was there to serve and to help others. And that really rubbed off on me. And I credit him for really influencing my decision to get into nonprofit work 15, 16 years ago. I don't think, I would have done nonprofit if it hadn't been for the experience I had with my dad and how he sacrificed a lot to serve others. And at the end of the day, I think he found that to be really, really rewarding, and I do too. I enjoy when I can lift people up, when I can help people become successful in their roles. And so that's the kind of role models I look for. And then the second one was also family for me. I have a couple wonderful aunts, but one in particular, her name's Aunt Belinda, and she only achieved a high school diploma, but somehow she managed to become a senior executive at the largest bank in Arkansas, and then one of the largest telecommunications companies in the South. She became a senior executive, and she did that by perseverance, hard work, being a great collaborator and teammate, and helping others around her achieve. And I think, people recognized her for her ability to do that. And that's how she moved up into really senior leadership roles. And that always hit home with me too. And I always look at her as, as a role model, and really that perseverance aspect of leadership where, she went into these, especially her first job in the bank is, pretty low level banker, and 10 years later, she was up near the top, and she did that because of her perseverance and her ability to build relationships with people that she worked with.
Wow, those are really cool stories. I appreciate you sharing those with us.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah. Jeff, how about you? Who are some of your role models when it comes to leadership?
Yeah, well, this was not rehearsed between Jason and I, but I was going to definitely give credit to my parents. The vision they had when I was a little kid at that time, didn't know what was going on, but to have a vision of Greenville, North Carolina at the time wasn't the place to try and raise the family, and my dad separated to go for that part of that up north travel and by himself, and separated and go to a place they'd never been and try and make roots in a place where they didn't know anyone is always stuck with me. So that vision and certainly the gravity that they experienced, both in terms of trying to move forward and having people help them along the way, and seeing them demonstrate how you help others along the way in return, is another value that I got from them as well. And then the empathy. I don't think they ever forgot about the challenges that they faced, but they also never forgot about the good people that they met along the way, and certainly the bridges that they were able to build and continue to maintain to this day. So I've got them certainly in my mind. And then the other person, and I guess when I think about some of the first individuals to impress me who were not family, I go to Martin Luther King Jr. And now I've got the benefit of history and studying more to realize that what appeared to me as just this great individual doing great things and everyone cheering for him, I recognize that not everyone was cheering for him, both within or among the cause he was trying to lead. And it took perseverance. It took having a feeling of what was right and what was wrong, and doing something not because it was easy, but because it was hard and it was the right thing to do. So those are the examples that come to my mind.
No, those are awesome. And I really like, especially talking about your parents, right? It's easy to see how you come back to those three elements of vision and gravity and empathy from their experience, and how clearly how that's touched you and stuck with you over the years. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Jeff, one last question for you. What do you view as the imperatives for future successful leaders within the actuarial profession?
Thank you for that question. And it comes easily and it touches on something I think we mentioned earlier. The world is changing very quickly. The actuary of yesterday and the actuary of tomorrow, they'll have some things in common. We have to have that skill set down. We have to, and the exam process helps with that and continual learning. But I think the ground is shifting underneath actuaries' feet. And there's a couple of things that are driving that. One is the questions that we're starting to be asked aren't just the calculations. As big data, artificial intelligence, new tools not only are here today, but the ones that are evolving over the future, I think actuaries are going to be in a position where they're going to hear a lot more questions around, we know you can do it, but should you do it? We know you did do it, but what's the impact on the people? Not that you want to buy your product, the ones you were focusing on marketing to, but on other populations or individuals. With all the technology, and I'll call it the magic from some regulators' perspective that's going on now, how can we be sure that you're not doing something, let's say unintentionally, that's harming or going against, the laws and regulations that have been established, so that we don't discriminate, or certainly in actuarial terms, don't discriminate unfairly. Maybe that's the way we'd say it better. And I think those are going to be challenges that are going to push actuaries to go beyond sort of mathematical intelligence to ethical intelligence, deepening your empathy pool by understanding directly, bringing more people into the tent. I like when we said earlier, I know enough to know I don't know everything, but I'm smart enough to know if I bring the right people around me, I've got a better chance of answering those questions that come up where, my knowledge is not enough, or maybe the collective knowledge is better than what I would come up with alone. I think those are all things that are going to be very important going into the future for the actuarial profession and the actuaries to stay relevant, but more importantly, to keep providing the solutions that society has been looking for us to and will continue to need from us.
Oh, I love that. I mean, there's a lot that's been changing in the world over the last 10, 20 years, and actuaries' ability to adapt to that and develop the skills needed to be able to tackle those issues, because they're not just mathematical issues anymore, right? They go into those other realms of ethics and some of the societal issues that we deal with. So I love that. That's great perspective, Jeff.
Thank you.
Jason, I'll give the last word to you.
Sure.
Anything from your perspective on what's going to make a future successful leader in the actuarial profession? You kind of have a unique vantage point in that you work with a bunch of actuaries, but aren't necessarily an actuary yourself.
Yeah, I'm not an actuary myself, so I took a little broader view to answering this question, and so I just had a couple points. First is, building a personal brand, I think, is important, whether you're a leader in the actual profession or another profession. And to me, that means, defining who you are and how you want others to view you. And that might even mean crafting your own personal mission statement. I think people, especially in the world that we live in with so much social media, so much information out there, I think it's important to take some time as a leader to understand what your personal brand really is and how you want that to come off with other people, how in the world to view you. The other thought that I had, is something I kind of remind myself of every day, is really understand what you're good at and build on that. For the longest time, I spent a lot of time focusing on what I'm not that good at, and that's frustrating. That is distracting. It isn't positive. So I started to focus much more on, here's what I'm really good at. How do I build on that? How do I elevate that? What tools or information could I get to help me continue on this path? So for me, I like to focus more on what I'm really good at, and learning about how to make that even better, as opposed to here's some of the stuff I'm not that good at. It's more productive for me to spend time thinking about what I'm good at and how to build on that.
No, that's excellent. Jason, Jeff, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a very enlightening conversation. I know I've learned a lot about the foundation, and I knew it did good things, but to hear about some of these details and the opportunities that are out there, I think this has been excellent.
Thank you. It's been great. Thank you.
It's been
for the
great,
invitation.
Michael. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So glad to be here. And please, for anybody listening, don't be afraid to reach out to me if you have any questions about the foundation. Thank you.
Excellent.
Or
And you
me
can
as
get more
well. Thank you.
You can get more information about the Actuarial Foundation on their website, actuarialfoundation.org. And just as a reminder, the CCA's leadership development community is open to any actuary. Please reach out to the CCA if you want to join. A special thanks to Shannon Peterson of the CCA staff for helping to organize today's event, and to the Leadership Development Community Steering Committee for helping us put together this interview. Join us for other upcoming CCA events and follow us online on social media and on our website, and check out our podcast channel on your wherever you like to get your podcasts from. Until then, until next time, this is Michael Clark. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.